What's good, YouTube? And you are watching The Squad. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to bring you my favorite way to play Pokemon, Stage 2. So I recently brought you Torterra, and now I wanted to take a look at some other Stage 2 Pokemon. So what's a Stage 2 Pokemon? So typically, a Stage 2 Pokemon is a one prize Pokemon, with some exceptions being GX Pokemon, which gave up 2 prizes. And they typically have 150 to 200 hit points, give or take the card. So they generally are two-shotting rule box Pokemon without weakness. There are exceptions, such as my favorite Stage 2 of all time, the Roaring Resolve Charizard from the 2019 expansion team-up. Oh god, has it been 3 years already? Anyway, the overwhelming majority view these types as trash. But are they? It honestly depends, really. I'm gonna make the case that they are not. Just like bad V Pokemon, there are bad Stage 2s. Not every Stage 2 released could crack the meta, and some absolutely need some cracked support. Okay. So what makes a Stage 2 good, you ask? Well, the good ones typically have cheap attack costs. Sometimes they may not be cheaper on the card, but they have ways to cheat them out with extra energy through support, through supporters, through abilities. Generally, they make up for the resources spent getting them on the board. The next strength they have is they hit a relevant weakness. So they're trying to hit a meta or popular weakness, as they typically don't hit high numbers at face value. They take advantage of what's being played by others. So some good weaknesses to keep in mind are Dark, looking at you, Mew VMAX, and the occasional Dragapult player we haven't scared off. Fighting weakness hits generally about 50% of the meta between normal, lightning, and some dark Pokemon. So we're hitting Jolteon, Arceus, and Gengar with fighting, which are good. The other two I always keep an eye out for when I'm building a deck is Water and Psychic. So there's Fire types with Brilliant Stars, there's the Urshifus, which are weak to Psychic. Anything else, you're probably just eyeing up a particular deck you want to beat. Lastly, Stage 2s usually have strong abilities that draw people in when the card is first revealed. So these are the cards that make you stop and look and go, okay, yeah, I really want to work something in with that. And of course, which brings us to the Sword and Shield Inteleon. So if you play any bit of standard Pokemon, you know what this card does. This card is everywhere. It's just that good. It is the king of Stage 2 Pokemon. The Shady Dealings engine is meta-relevant and sets the bar for what a Stage 2 should have in it if it's not going to be the face of a deck. So why should you play the rest of them? Well, my biggest thing is that they're a great escape from the meta. Sometimes you're tired of playing the Mews, the Arceuses. There's plenty of variants of that. But there's just times where you need a break. You want to try something different. You want to experiment with something that you might not have played hundreds of games with. They're a guilty pleasure, and they're generally more fun to play with, as you understand that they're not going to be taking game within the first turn or so. It's a humbling experience. So by understanding that you're not coming in with the most powerful cards, you know you're not going to win every game, but at the same time, every game that you do win with a Stage 2 feels that much better. And lastly, it improves your deck building. I attribute any deck building, creativity, skill, whatever, comes from fiddling around with bad Stage 2 cards, with good Stage 2 cards. Because the route to victory is not as clear as some of the more meta decks, I would argue that fiddling with bad cards makes you more resourceful and opens up new strategies that you might not have seen otherwise. With that said, let's take a look at some of the decks that I want to bring you today, as there were more, but I wanted to save some of the good ones. So first up on the list, we have Gardevoir Gallade. So Gardevoir and Gallade came out in Chilling Reign, and they've been kind of a non-factor since. But with the introduction of Brilliant Stars, we now have Manaphy for bench protection. So those Rapid Strike Urshifus, those Jolteons. We now have an on-paper protection. Bibarel, I'm going to start the Bibarel propaganda right now. I think it's a terrific card, and if you can squeeze it into your deck in any capacity, I think you really should. But Gallade now hits a more relevant typing. So Dynablade does 60 times the number of V Pokemon in play. Arceus is weak to fighting Pokemon, and if they're not playing Dunsparce, a Choice Belt, 2 Arceus in play, you're knocking out the V-Star. If Mew gets a little greedy and goes all V's, V-Maxes, 360 with the Choice Belt, you're getting a KO. Gardevoir with the Choice Belt now only needs 3 energy to take out an Urshifu VMAX, be it single or Rapid Strike. And the Mirage Step from Kirlia allows you to cheat multiple of them into play. So you can set up multiple Gardevoirs and Glades and you're not capped at 4 of them. And the rare candies are in here just in case we need to pick up the pace. If Mirage Step is a little too slow for a game and your opponent's putting out pressure, you want to have a couple of rare candy just to give you the option to return a KO or just put a little pressure on early in. Yeah, pretty straightforward here. It's a lot of fun. The Gardevoir is drawing you 2 cards. The Bidoof and Bibarel is drawing you cards. And you have a 2 energy attacker or you have a 3 energy attacker that can scale. Generally, the deck has everything you want. Built-in acceleration, multiple types. It sets itself up, and it's very easy to get going once there's multiple of them in play. Next up, we have the channel mascot, my favorite, Obstagoon. So, Obstruct is not as good as it used to be. With VMAXs and V-Stars, basic Pokemon are not as prevalent, but occasionally it's still in there for the Suicunes, get through there. But Merciless Strike Obstagoon from Fusion Strike, terrific. So this is one that looks to take advantage of Pokemon that are weak to Dark. So you put 1 damage counter on it, and then you're hitting 150. So if it's weak to Dark, you're hitting 300 plus whatever damage counters you put on. So if you put the Untamed Shout on a Mew, before they get the Fusion Strike on, that's 3. Then you're hitting for 150 plus weakness is 300, so that's 330. Even with the Meloetta, you're still hitting them for 310 in total damage. No, disregard that. Basically, if you can get the Untamed Shout on, Meloetta does not make a difference. So Meloetta does not make a difference there. We have the Inteleon engine because it is the gold standard. Shady Dealings is just that good. Again, more Bibarel propaganda here. We're just going to be drawing more cards, trying to rely less on supporters, but they're still there. Fan of Waves to try to toss those Fusion Strike energy out of the way. We have plenty of recovery with our Rescue Carrier, Ordinary Rod. The Zigzagoon is probably our primary way of putting damage counters on to knock things out. It's very easy to streamline attackers with this deck. If it's weak to Dark, you're going to have a good time. There's a new stadium coming out in the Astral Radiance set that actually ignores the effect of Fusion Strike energy so that you'll be able to put damage counters through. So if this is a deck that you're not necessarily convinced on now, next set you can get 2 of the new stadium and you should be able to search it out with the Shady Dealings engine and ping down those Mews and work right through the Fusion Strike energy. So your best matchup gets better next set. Next up, we have a tried and true favorite, Decidueye. So it has a very good ability, Deep Forest Camo, which prevents all damage done to it from Pokemon V or Pokemon GX. In recent sets, Mew, Dragapult, anything with a wall-breaking attack. Rarely we did see Phoebe, which just went right through. Decidueye saw a little less play, but with the inclusion of more special energy into decks, Beedrill has come into play, so we're opting to run a 2/0/2 Weedle Beedrill line. So the Beedrill for 1 energy, Persist Instinct immediately knocks out anything with a special energy attached. Attach a Turbo energy, so long Arceus. You attach Fusion Strike energy, so long Mew. We're trading 1 for 3, which is fine. So we're gonna play 2 of each. We already have the rare candies. We're gonna go with a thicker line of the Inteleon rather than splitting it with Quick Shooting. We're focused more on Jet Sting or Persistent Sting to deal with those more difficult matchups. The wall is really for anything else. The only matchup that I'd probably say to avoid, if you're going to see a lot of, is the Arceus Duraludon. We're not getting through Duraludon. Just telling you now, we're not getting through Duraludon. But this deck here, you set up a Decidueye and say, can you answer this? And typically something that's going to answer it will be a Mew, which we have an answer for, or a Dragapult, which whatever, but nobody plays Dragapult. So typically we're pretty good here, and we play the Raihan. So Inteleon is an attacker, Beedrill is an attacker, Decidueye is an attacker. They all attack here, so this gives Decidueye another chance to stay in the game. Next up, we have Inteleon. So Inteleon's a great support Pokemon, but what if we throw it in as the face of its own deck? So in this deck, we have the Swampert from Fusion Strike, which lets you accelerate a water or fighting from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Great, so now Inteleon's attacking in one turn. Inteleon can hunt out the pieces to evolve those Mudkips into Swamperts. We don't mind going from Sobble to Drizzile, so the rare candies are usually saved for Mud Swamperts, but sometimes we want to skip and jump right into that Aqua Bullet. It's there. We have the one quick shooting just to fix up some math. We have the Basculin, which does 30 plus 10 for each damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. So if Aqua Bullet does 120 or 150 with the Choice Belt, we always have the cleanup with Basculin. So if it's a VMAX, we're trading 2 prizes for 3. If we want to soften something up on the bench with Telescopic Sight, we can Aqua Bullet, so send 50 onto the bench. Quick shooting once or twice. It could be 90 damage, and then you're softening up another V. The Swampert's also an attacker here. We can go Raihan, we can go Attach, we can go Accelerate, we can many other combinations, but 180 gives us another more, bulkier attacker, and 180 for 3 is not bad. Choice Belt 210 for 3, really good. You can fix your numbers here. Training Quartz, get your energy back for Swampert, get them back for attachment. The deck sustains itself pretty well. I had a lot of fun playing this one. I was actually surprised at how well it functioned, but I mean, Shady Dealings is the king of stage 2s, so what do you expect? And lastly, we have Charizard, everybody's favorite. So Charizard is a great way to start the game. If you're new to the game, if you're a fan of Charizard, not as good as the Roaring Resolve Charizard personally, but it scratches that itch. So it does 50 damage, 100 base plus 50 for each Leon in your discard pile. Leon, 30 more damage when you play it. So hypothetically, you can work up to a big 360 attack, or generally we're seeing 280, 300, 330. We're mostly trying to chase down smaller targets. So we have our barrels, Bidoofs. We're not afraid to throw things away with the Ultra Ball, the Quick Balls, Fire Energies, Magma Basin. Terrific card for this deck with the introduction of Brilliant Stars. Had a lot of fun with this one. It's a stage 2 though. I'll touch on that in a moment. But yeah, so typically you chase the smaller things early in the game, then the end of the game you decide to chase something big, and you can boss it up, or you can Leon it up, or typically they're attacking you with the big target. So if you feel like you have to work through that big 330, 340 Pokemon, hold a Leon until the end of the game, and you have your Choice Belt, you have your Leon, you're going up to 360. Most things are not going to survive a 360 hit by a one prize Pokemon, and you don't mind two-shotting because you are a one prize Pokemon, you're going to work through it. So typically you'll burn all 4 candies, you'll evolve up a Charmander to a Charmeleon. You typically see about 5 Charizards per game. And if you haven't won at that point, you're not gonna win, but it's a lot of fun. Manaphy lets you stay in the game, and you have the Ordinary Rods to get them back. You have plenty of search to get them back. I'm telling you, this is a lot of fun. Brilliant Stars brings a lot more to the game. And closing thoughts. So if you're still around to the end, I just want to say thank you. Don't get discouraged if you're playing stage 2s. We already accepted that they're a little lower in power. We're not trying to win 70-80% of our games. This is more for fun. Don't be afraid to experiment with a new idea. So when I look at a new set, or I look at the card pool, I'll look at a card and be like, I want to play this. Not really sure how I'm going to get there, but I'll look at the card and then I will build outward on the card. Some ideas, they go terrific and they wind up in a video like this, or they wind up, doing well in some tournaments for other people. Not every idea sticks, so don't be afraid to throw stuff at the wall, see what happens. Not everything is a success. It's a card game. I always like to view this game like building a puzzle, except I get to decide what the picture is going to be. So each card is a different piece of the puzzle, and I can reframe the puzzle however I want when I'm putting it together. It's a lot of fun, different combinations. You can always piece something together. Somebody else might not see your way, you might not see their way. You can always view multiple perspectives to try to expand your horizon, but again, just keep trying with things. You never know what'll fit until you try it. And lastly, it's a card game. Have fun with it. If you're not having fun with the game, I suggest something else. But if you're not having fun with it, maybe take a step back, try something else. Again, I try stage 2s when I'm not having fun with standard. Expanded is a whole other can of worms that I can't get into at this time. But yeah, you just always have to be having fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, you just gotta take a deep breath, give it another try. And lastly, for those of you who stuck around, all 4 of you, I just want to say thank you, and we're going to start a Pokemon code giveaway for Brilliant Stars. So I'm thinking 25. If the turnout works out to be better than I expected, it will bump up to 50. So how you can enter: like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to cap all entries on April 1st of 2022, and then I'm going to post the winner in the next video after that day, and I'm also going to post it on the Twitter. If you're interested in this kind of content, as I have many more Stage 2s I have an absolute blast playing with and I'm still working on, please let me know in the comments below. If there's any you feel like I should pick on, let me know. I'm still playing with Torterra. It's my go-to paper deck at the moment, so Stage 2 advocate here. If you think Stage 2s are awful, just, let me know as well. It's, you're open to your opinion at the end of the day. But yeah, just having fun with it. And to everybody else stuck around, thank you. And until next time, take care.